Welcome to an episode of Marketing for Your Boring Business, helping your message get seen in the cluttered newsfeed. Today we're talking to one of my oldest networking friends, Gelie Akhenblit. She is the founder of networkingphoenix.com and Gelie.com and has done amazing things to help the community of Phoenix and probably the country and the world, in my opinion, with helping to grow their business through networking and building relationships with people. And today we're going to be talking about how you can network and grow your business online by building relationships with the internet. Gelie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Yes, thanks. I know that it was a little logistically hard to figure out. It's always logistically hard for me to figure out how to get people on the show because my time zone is so weird.
Yeah, you're on the other side of the world.
Yeah, it's like a 16-hour time difference between me and Gelie. So my Saturday morning is her Friday afternoon. So, all right. So let's just get started. So networking, where do we get started with that? Obviously, I think that networking usually starts with in-person meetings. So let's start there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a lot of people have a big misconception about what networking is. They think it's, networking is attending maybe a chamber mixer and exchanging business cards and talking about business. I mean, sure, we can put them in the realm of networking, but that's not really what networking is about. Networking is about making friends that are going to last you a lifetime, regardless of what industry you're in. It's about finding like-minded individuals. It's about connecting with people that can help you in your personal and professional goals. It's about connecting with people on that core human level, because you're not going to do business with somebody that you don't like or that you don't trust. So if you don't connect with them on that human level first, then, who cares about your business card? Who cares if you attend networking events and all you talk about is your company? It's really not about your company. It's about who you are as a person. Even if it's not your company, if you're representing somebody else's company, if you're a rep and they don't like you, it doesn't matter how great the company is, they're probably not going to want to work with you because, they don't like you. So again, but vice versa, if they do like you, and you do connect on that personal level, people will go out of their way to help you and want to work with you, and again, so this is where, people really confuse networking versus really bad promoting, right? Because going to an event, to hand out your business cards, your promo material, your coupons is like all of that. I call that really bad promoting. That is not networking.
Yeah, we've been there. And then what's funny is Gelie taught me how to network, and I'll be honest, I think we all have been bad networkers at some point where we're like, here's my card, call me, here's my card, call me, here's my card, call me. Oh, you want to be friends? Do we have to do that? So I think that's hugely impactful. So you make these relationships with people, and then how do you take them online? What would you advise is like the next step?
I mean, honestly, the same principle applies online, so I just had this conversation this morning with a lady who, I mean, she's out of Australia, and she's got this huge network in the sports arena, but then she's got this candle company that she launched, and she's promoting her candle company. And I'm like, look, what you've got to do is, and I told her, I was like, well, if you hired me, like, this is what I would do, right? So basically, you're asking me exactly, like, I had this conversation this morning. So what I would do for her particular purpose, and again, this can translate to other industries, but, Instagram would be a phenomenal tool for what she does. And I told her, look, you've got to connect with other influencers. And, when I say influencers, let me define that. So influencers in the online world are typically people that have a large community of loyal followers that they've built, right? So, for instance, I do some influencer work here locally in Phoenix because I have a large community. And so when I speak, my community listens, right? So they may want to use the service, product, whatever. So same thing goes for people on Instagram. I've got a friend that she's an interior decorator, and she's got a following of over 40,000 people, and they're her loyal followers. And, she built it from scratch. And then, so what I was telling this lady I was speaking with, I'm like, we got to tap on people like Christina, right? If we want to build our network, because for one, she should be part of our network. But then I would once I build the relationship with Christina or somebody like Christina, I would say, okay, well, Christina, who are you friends with? Like, who are your other influencer friends, right? And then start tapping into their communities. And that's in essence how you start to build your own community of other influencers and people that connect you. Yeah, I used to I've done so many presentations, and when I used to present back in the day, one of the things I would tell people is, I don't know, people collect things. I collect people. Like each connection to me is like a trophy. Like I value it. I worked for it. I hustled for it, and, some trophies are up on this shelf. Some trophies are, it depends. But, you really should have a core of super loyal people. And the same principle applies if you're meeting them face to face versus online, because you can build an entire relationship online, right? I mean, just think about it. Like taking that out of the networking world, like people have met online, gotten married, and then met in person. Now, I don't know what happens afterwards, but the point is you can build an entire relationship online without meeting somebody face to face. So you have to get clear on what are you looking for? Who do you want to connect with? What do you want out of the relationship? What can you bring to the relationship? Get out a Google Doc sheet and start listing the people you want to meet, right? And then just start hitting them up.
So let's expand upon that last piece that you said. So making that list of people you want to meet. So if I have my wish list of people that I want to meet, and I'm guessing there's probably different objectives or avenues or what. How would someone go about putting together lists and reaching out to people?
Well, first you have to find who they are,
Mm-hmm.
right? Again, actually, let's take a step back. The first question is, who are you trying to meet, right? Again, who for your service, who's going to use your service? So let's say you're a lawyer, all right? And you want to partner with CPAs because they could refer you. You could refer to their business, So if I were a lawyer, a small business lawyer, or I don't know, small business, but whatever kind of lawyer, let's just use small business for an example. I would probably try to find referral partners like CPAs. And so what I would do is I would search for them on LinkedIn, right? I would go to LinkedIn. I mean, that's a pretty easy search, find CPAs. And maybe I would even create a group, right? It's free to create groups online and LinkedIn. And I would contact these people because, you can send messages nowadays, when you connect. And I think LinkedIn made it easier for people to see messages now, and start sending these people connections and, say, hey, I know we don't know each other. I came across your profile. I'm a small business lawyer. I'm reaching out to CPAs because I'm looking to expand my professional network. If you're possibly interested, let's connect and see if there's some possibilities. Just like a very soft, like warm note. Like you don't want to sell somebody. Like you can't ask somebody to marry before you even met them, right? So a very soft note. And if they do connect with you, then possibly consider once you connect, now you actually can message each other. So then you follow up on that note, and then see if you can even get them into your group of people, your network that you're trying to build, right? Because maybe you've got CPAs, but then maybe there's another industry that you're targeting that could potentially, you can send business to back and forth. And it's not like you need to grow a gigantic community. I mean, you literally need, I would say, have a goal of 10. Like start with a goal of 10. Let me find 10 good connections that I think I can refer business to, and if your medium is LinkedIn, then go find them on LinkedIn. If your medium is Instagram, find them on Instagram. Both of those platforms have phenomenal search options.
Yeah. So, speaking from personal experience, I know that when I moved to Korea, I was really worried about being able to keep my network growing and my community growing. And I actually found that it's been just as easy, if not actually easier, because everyone's like, you're in Korea? Tell me your story. And I think that maybe the thing that's important to remember when you are trying to build these relationships is to just be yourself. Like I said, you and I started our friendship out as just like this girl who kept showing up at your events, and then eventually you're like, look, you're doing this wrong, and here are my tips for you, which was super humbling, by the way. But
I don't even recall. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You meet a lot of people, but I remember pretty clearly our first like get it together, Desiree.
I'm sure I was trying to help you.
Oh no, and you were, and it 100% was, and sometimes in all of the people in my life that I hold in high regard are usually like, look, Desiree, let's take the gloves off. So, because it's just how it goes. But you can build and cultivate those relationships. So I think that once you've built those relationships, it's really important to like stay personable and be able to tell your story and keep relating people. So because we live in a world of like, I'm not just gonna do business with anyone. I want to do business with someone like I know.
Hmm.
So, do you have any thoughts to expand on that, or anything that you've had any experiences about how that has worked for you?
So let me just make sure I understand the question. So you're saying you don't want to just do business with anyone, you want to do business with people you know.
Yes.
But is that like when you're in a phase of building the relationships
Yeah.
or
Yeah, so like for example, so I was reaching out to some potential resellers for all-in-one service, and one of the guys that I had met, I've never even like crossed paths with him, just he happened to pop up as someone that could be a potential partner, and he's in like Virginia, and so I messaged him and I started telling him about like the story of and mission of our business, and then he was able to start following me on Facebook. And he could see like what I've been doing in Korea and what my business has been doing, and he gets to kind of see the balance of the story of my life here in Korea with my family and the adventures we're going on, while also like my business message of like sharing what we've been doing and stuff like that. And so because of that, him getting to know me, he's been able to, believe in my mission, my business, and trust me. And because of that, I was able to acquire his business
hmm.
to help me grow.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, so then again, if I understand what you're saying is, it's important to do business with people. Like nowadays with social media, we're so transparent. It's like almost we have to be transparent. We want people to know who we are outside of the business world,
Mm-hmm.
and by him seeing what you're going through and your daily or weekly life, however much you update it, it's very important. As I can share with you the same concept. My personal blog is followgelie.com, and it's very public, and I share that with, my entire business world. But I talk about very personal things, I mean, some business things, but not like, how to network. If I'm talking about my business, it's like, oh, maybe it's going to fall apart tomorrow. I don't know. It's pretty heavy stuff, right? Talks about my divorce, all that good stuff. So, people read that blog and they want to do business with me because that's me being so transparent. So it's almost like, I'm not trying to get business with a blog. I mean, the blog is just my outlet, but people feel like it's like the relationship gets built because when they read my story, they feel like they know me. And so it sounds like the same thing happened with you and this guy in Virginia. He got to know you outside of the business realm. And that, again, that builds, we do business with people that we know, like, and trust. So number one, knowing he's got, same online as it is offline. He's watching your stories online. He got to know you. Obviously he liked you. If he didn't like you, he wouldn't have called. And then there's the whole trust factor. Like he sees you with your kids. He probably maybe sees you with your husband. Again, I don't know what all content you're putting out there. I mean, there's so much coming at me constantly, but you're very good at I know you can, like, how to create a story online. Like, that's what you do. So I'm sure you're putting out awesome stories out there. So, yeah, I think it is important to, this is exact. I mean, you're basically saying exactly what I said when I got on the call is networking is about building relationships. It's about making friends. It is not about attending networking events, handing out cards, or sending out spammy messages to people online, to hope that they click on your site.
Yeah. And I think that nowadays with the internet, the only way that you're going to be able to really build those relationships is by telling those stories. So, what would you advise to somebody who's really just like not into the idea of, as they would put it, sharing their life or sharing their breakfast, and what they're doing all the time online? Because they feel like that usually, and this is a super generalization, that a lot of younger people are super okay with just the use of social media and the oversharing. But sometimes your more seasoned professionals who also want to continue to grow their business have sort of a hard time with that. How would you advise them to get started?
So I would advise them, baby steps are perfectly okay. So maybe instead of sharing their entire life, like me sharing my divorce and custody issues and all this other stuff that makes everyone super uncomfortable, except me, I'm very comfortable with sharing. But I would maybe say pick a hobby. Like, do you have a hobby? And then talk about that hobby. For instance, maybe you do CrossFit. Okay, so talk about CrossFit. I don't know. Maybe you do yoga of some sort. Okay, so talk about your yoga hobby. Share something about yourself that's personal, but not so personal that it makes you uncomfortable sharing it. My rule of thumb is if I don't want my mom to see it, I'm not going to put it on the internet. That's just kind of my general rule of thumb. But interestingly enough, I'll tell you, as I've been sharing my life story and putting it on the internet, a lot of these things, honestly, my mom doesn't even know about me. So my mom will read my blogs and then she'll call me or text me and be like, wow, like I had no idea. Or she's like, you really need to write a book, or which is really interesting to get feedback from your mom. And again, the only reason I even mention is because my rule of thumb is, if I don't want my mom to see it, I'm not going to put it out there. So we all have our boundaries is what I'm saying, right? We all have our boundaries. So for those people that are not comfortable and don't want to share their breakfast, okay, don't share your breakfast. I actually don't even care what you eat for breakfast, unless it's an amazing smoothie, that I'll drink and lose, 10 pounds in one day, then yeah, please share it with me. But otherwise it's, pick something that you enjoy and maybe stick to that and see what people's reaction is, and I think a lot of times what happens, it's kind of scary to start sharing things about ourselves. But once we get some positive reinforcement and positive feedback from others, it's easier to keep moving forward with sharing.
Yeah. So on the reverse end of this, so let's say, we've been spending time reaching out to people. What about when people are reaching out to us? We're getting friend requests from people that maybe we don't have any connection to, but they found us through some blog we wrote. Or, we get these random emails that are like, I read your blog, or I saw your this, or hey, let's talk. How do you advise people with going through sort of filtering who they let into their network and be any red flags that people should be on the lookout for?
I mean, that's a tough one. I get a lot of people trying to connect with me on Facebook, and my general rule of thumb is I don't accept anyone's friend request unless I had some kind of a personal interaction with them.
What would you say is a personal interaction?
If I know who they are, like maybe we emailed, maybe we met at an event, maybe, we had a conversation. I mean, just so I know who they are. Because otherwise, I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'm followed by 1,886 people. And that's how many people have sent me friend requests that I have not accepted, right? So if they send you a friend request that you don't accept, they automatically end up following you. And I don't know who these people are. And if I accepted all of them, I would have over, I don't know, like over 4,000 friends, and Facebook only allows you to have 5,000. So it's just like, to me, like, it's not like, if I know you and we had some interaction, okay, I can accept you as a friend. Otherwise, send me a message or tell me why you want to connect. And a lot of people do. A lot of people will send a message, and because I think most people that want to connect with me want to connect and meet a network. But again, I have over 40,000 members in my community through my platform, so obviously I can't have 40,000 friends on Facebook. And if you tell people to join your page, they get upset. So I don't tell people to do that, right? If they want to go join, they can join. Otherwise, I don't know, it's just kind of a gray area, but then the other thing is my profile is public, so anyone's welcome to interact with me. And a lot of times when people interact with me and I see that they send me a friend request, and they keep interacting with me, at some point I'll accept it, because I'm like, okay, this person's legit, they're not saying anything weird, like for me, I just don't want any, I don't want any weirdos on my page, like I don't want to deal with, weird people. And when you're dealing with the general public, you're going to get interesting people. So that's how I manage Facebook, and as far as LinkedIn, I typically tend to accept everyone, again, because I'm a networker, so why would I not? And if they send me a spammy message, I just don't reply. Here's the great thing about, free will. You don't have to reply to anyone. You don't have to reply to their email, and you don't have to reply to their message, and you don't have to call them back if you think, it's a spammy situation. Mm-hmm. So I just tell people, don't be spammy. You want somebody to pick up the phone and call you to return your email, write something genuine. Like, write something real and genuine. Like, if I get a real email, I answer it. Period. End of story. Like, I don't let people hang. But if somebody sends me a completely generic email and all they do is just say, hi, Gelie in there, I don't have to respond. And then a few times I've actually responded, gosh, somebody was trying to recruit me for like, I think a job. I don't actually even know what they were trying to recruit me for, and I replied to the guy and I said, um, he said he's the CEO of the company. I'm like, I really can't tell if this message is geared towards me or not. And I don't have a resume. If you're trying to recruit me, I'm assuming you've looked at my LinkedIn or, that I run a company. Like, I haven't had a resume in, I don't know, 12, 13 years. He was like asking me for my resume. So again, I just don't know. Not that I don't know, but if you're sending out emails and trying to connect with people, don't be spammy. Like, don't leave a shadow of doubt in my mind whether this message is geared specifically towards me or it's just the generic message and you're trying to, reel me in with it.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. And I think that by knowing what it's like to get it, it's important to remember that, like, someone might think you're being spammy when you're reaching out to them, or they're going to have that instant hesitation, like, oh no, what is this? Who's this person? And and some of us have extra filters. So, like for myself, because of my husband being in the military and where we live, I have to literally ask everybody who comes into my network but I don't have like a connection to, be like, who are you? Why are you trying to get a hold of me? Because I have to be really guarded with like who we know because of military operations stuff. So, it's one of those things that I have to deal with, but it's something that people have to consider. It's just that idea. It's like when you're reaching out to somebody, you don't know. I mean, you might know part of their story, but you like don't know like what their comfort level is and stuff. So I think kind of be able to deal with rejection, and that's why. But at the same time, maybe that person just isn't right for your network at that time. So, well, Gelie, do you have any other final notes for people about how to network online? I mean, we talked about obviously the foundation of all business, which is they do business with people they know, like, and trust. Be strategic about who you're reaching out to and what you want from them, and build relationships, build friendships, and then how we filter out people who we want in our network, what they can and can't see. Do you have any other pointers or tips for people?
Honestly, I would just say always lead in with your personal foot and just remember that it's about you as a person and it's not about your company or the company you're representing at the moment. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, you're looking for clients, you're looking for new business, but initially, it's all about you, who you are, and what value you bring to the relationship. So always look for ways that you can help people, how you can make them smile, and I guarantee you they'll bend over backwards to want to help you.
Awesome. All right, Gelie, how can people find you online?
So people can find me at gelie.com, Gelie.com. That's my personal website. They can contact me through there. They can see, the kind of work that I do. And then if they're interested in checking out my networking platform, right now we're only in Phoenix, Arizona. So that's networkingphoenix.com, and that's all spelled out. And I'm super stalkable. So you can literally just type my name into Google and I think everything comes up, my LinkedIn, Facebook. There's not many Gelies, especially Gelie Akhenblit. So you type my name into Google and I'll come up.
Yeah, it's the advantage. I used to have that with Desiree Ford, and then I got married and it all changed. So, but things that we do for marriage, right? But all right, well, thank you so much for having me on, thank you so much for being on the show and for taking the time to talk with me. I hope you have a great day, Gelie, and thanks again for listening, everybody.